The Call of the Birds, Chapter 15. "She's not the one, Ma'am." A nasally voice wheezed nervously through the darkness. "It just doesn't seem plausible. She's all the right qualities. She's spirited and fierce, but she lacks—" The speaker paused. Lila had not denied that she'd fallen from the heavens, but when lightly probed she'd not claimed it as her own either. Besides, there was something far too earthbound about her that he couldn't quite pinpoint. A down-to-earthiness that even he had to admit was difficult not to find endearing. Basically, ever since she'd arrived, Lila had fitted in almost exactly as though she was, in fact, a horse herself. It was most strange. She even looked like one. "However," he therefore continued, because for all the above reasons he didn't want to condemn her just yet, "she has got all the markings of a warrior, and would prove useful, I believe, should war ever come again." The voice that replied sliced the air as a humdrum of eggshells that caused each particle of ether to electrify. "But you said that there were 2 stars that fell. Where's the other?" "I'm working on that, Ma'am, but we must tread carefully." "No," the voice boomed. "It is with me you tread carefully." "I know, I understand." "Do you? Is that true?" "I don't think it can be, for else you would scrub the inside of your mouth till your teeth splintered and your tongue resembled a stump. Remember, who gives you sustenance and safety within this poor broken world? It is I. And who turns a blind eye to your love of these natives with their ridiculous chants and their costumes? It is I. And I promise you, you would do well not to forget such a truth, that the great goddess Banyana, the greatest goddess that ever existed, that ever escaped from death, is your leader, not an idle little girl who charms you with her sweet looks and trickery. Aha, you have not spotted her trickery, I think. I see she has charms, Ma'am. I am aware of that, which is why I bide my time, for I need to win her trust. Aha, the goddess sang. Trust, yes. That is good." A horrible crunch sucked at the darkness as she spoke, followed by another, then another, until finally the goddess spat and spoke again. "And these bones are hard as old socks, man. Where is the flesh I call for?" "I will try harder," the speaker's voice feebly whistled. For animal flesh had long since become taboo for those who'd survived the war, and the bones, he gathered, were carrion. "Good, good," the goddess replied, "though I would prefer you to try your hardest, not merely harder, for I am hungry, as are my friends." "Who?" Another voice echoed loud and low in the gloom. "Your friends?" It spoke again. "Yes, Drem, we are occasionally friends, are we not? Though the darkness shrouds us in delectable mystery, and life might shroud you in shackles." "I care not for your friendship," the new voice staccatoed. "And nor do the other gods," it continued. "Oh, but dear Drem," Banyana's voice became poetic. "One of us had to hold it, didn't we? Ask the mortal here. What's your name again, please, mortal? Monsieur Rectum, isn't it?" "Rictum," the man quickly corrected. "Inadequate Rictum, Ma'am, at your service. And yes, I do believe from our scriptures that you are entirely correct, and that only one god, or apologies, Ma'am, goddess, will hold the heart." "Ha-ha, well, see. My dear Drem, even Monsieur Rectum's odd little cult has decreed that only one of us should hold it, and that appears to be—" Her breathy attention turned back to inadequate Rectum, who cowered before her. "Me. Tell him, Rectum. Tell him and all the others, for I wish them to know how it feels inside of me, how it pulses each moment, each hour, each breath, or how it pulses, she said, how it throbs." "Enough, Banyana," another voice interrupted, one higher in pitch than the last, and sly as a snake, but no less infused with hatred. Inadequate glanced to his left to follow its sound, but of course there was nothing to be seen within the terrible disorientation of morbid black. The gods had learnt long ago that they thrived best in the darkness. "Why," the new voice continued, "would we care how it throbs when every day we have to sit here and listen to you gloat? You broke our seal, dear sister, our pact that we forged in blood, in skin, and in stone. The heart was to be shared, yet you pinned it to your chest inside for none other to see and none other to feel. I hope these falling stars of yours are true. Oh, how I hope they are, that rain has returned at last, that he brings a whole army of rains to descend on you, and I believe he will. I truly do, sister, I truly do. Listen, I hear the wail of his birds even now, croaking so mournfully, so alone. He calls, sister, he calls. Sweet and rich he will come, and slice that heart from your chest, for he wants it back, sister, he wants it back. Listen, I hear him now. Oh, listen." "Rain, rain!" Drem's booming voice mockingly joined in with the curses that rained down on Banyana.
How we weep in sorrow and penitence, and how we plead for mercy, for surely you will skin us alive and chop us to pieces for your birds upon to feast. And surely you, Banyana, you he will burn at the altar of his discontent, and me and all the others. Isn't this right, Venimia?
Yes, quite right, the higher-pitched voice confirmed. Yes, we and all the other gods that sleep through our agony as he cuts us limb from limb will still find time to love. Dear sister will still find time to love. Stop it, Banyana snapped. Can't you hear? Can't you feel it in your bones? Though this child Rectum speaks of, lies and deceives these people, she has not fallen from the stars at all, and Rayan will be no more. His annihilation will have passed many moons ago, for no living thing could survive in death without a heart. Oh, how it throbs, little sister Venimia, how it sings for joy. There'll be no Rayan, we are safe as houses, isn't that what you say, Rectum? Safe as houses, although, she paused, just to be certain, I would like to have the girl tortured. Tortured, ma'am? Inadequate Rectum breathed in uneasy silence. Oh, yes, tortured. Why not, if she is masquerading as one fallen from the heavens? Well, see, she's not exactly Inadequate almost began, but silence, Banyana shot him down. I did not ask you to interrupt, little mortal. And she knows, believe me, she knows. For see how she conducts herself, her confidence, her ability to charm and trick, her beauty, her own heart experiences equal amounts of love and pain. This I feel because my heart allows me to see beyond vision, my throbbing heart. Well, thundered the voice that Inadequate recognized as Trem. I suppose in that case the most logical thing to do would be to torture her, perhaps, because I've just had a rather interesting thought. Oh, thoughts! The higher-pitched Venimia interjected. Pray, do tell more, dear Dram. Oh, yes, Banyana echoed, surprised by this small token of support. Speak more, newly favoured godster. Well, he continued, though less friendly in tone towards his superior, could it be, in fact, that it is none other than our sister Eldra who has fallen from the heavens, and that this girl who now infiltrates our ranks is her accomplice? A collective gasp filled the chamber. Why, Dram! Venimia immediately exclaimed. Such a terrible thing to say! I'm shocked, really I am, and look, shush, for you will awaken our brethren with such distasteful words. Banyana hummed, then tut. Yet, Venimia, is it not a possibility? After all, who else but our abandoned and demonized sister Eldra would wish to, need to leave our glorious heavens? Our sister, who I must remind everyone, refused to join us because of her love for the Rayan, who was indeed himself very charming. Banyana, Drem pointed out. Eldra wasn't the only one to fall for him. I myself was most intrigued. So though I agree she was foolish, I've always believed Eldra's love did not deserve— Yes, all right, Banyana snapped, causing Inadequate Rectum to shudder. For Banyana was prone to irrational behaviour if enraged, and being reminded of the depths of her cruel nature was most certainly enraging. Anyway, Banyana continued, still baffled, you have to admit, as unsettling as it sounds, that Eldra falling from the heavens does have an unusual ring of possibility about it. Like it or not, it is in all our interest to rule this possibility out. So, I assume from this we are in agreement. The girl must be tortured. A reluctant hum of decisive consent filled the room from the other two gods, for the remaining three had long since departed this life in consciousness and were rare to stir. Then it is finalized, Banyana decreed. An Inadequate knew when Banyana decreed the work would be done. Dear Rectum, she addressed him directly now, by the measure of twilight on the eve of the first crow that croaks. Tomorrow then, ma'am, for the crow croaks each day. Yes, tomorrow then. Thank you, Rectum, though if I may be permitted to finish. Yes, I apologize. So, she continued, by the measure of twilight on the eve of the first crow that croaks, this girl creature who has so presumptuously infiltrated my subjects and now partakes of the gifts that I pile upon them, I now decreed that she be bound and gagged and strung by her feet from the highest branch of the banyan tree. Ma'am, don't interrupt, mere mortal. The banyan tree is I, and my branches spread far and wide across your land, fueled by the heart that beats and pumps and beats and pumps and beats and pumps, and tomorrow eve you will bring her to me. Yes, ma'am, unquestionably, ma'am. Inadequate Rectum began to make a hasty retreat by means of the string he had attached to the entrance, for to be lost in the temple of the gods was to be lost indeed, and the string guided his way. And you will not fail me, Banana hissed as he ducked down to sit through the horribly narrow and airless exit tunnel. For if you do, 10,000 tons of woes and troubles will befall your people. 10,000 tons, do you hear? For my heart must continue to beat and pump and throb and pump and beat and... But Inadequate was already gone, and the tunnel through to the hold and out into the open muffled the goddess's cries. He was afraid, though. All around this strange and unforgiving wood the land was bog, and had little to sustain his people. He and he alone knew about the wood and the land, and the huge and ancient aircraft that lay dormant, swamped and disguised by dense thicket, complete with its booby traps of brambles, throat-high nettles, and ragged blackthorn. Once, a long time ago, or so it seemed he'd been called, no, delivered to this eerie wreck, that was filled with skeletons, scarecrow men and women draped and tangled in wires that hung like vines. Others were splayed across control panels. When he'd once made the mistake of shining his light, the inside of the craft's carcass had resembled a torture chamber. Inadequate was also the only one who knew about the gods and goddesses that had made their home here. 6 of them in total, though 3 had succumbed to madness and had long since been subdued by Banyana's powers. Clumsily, Inadequate lowered himself through a side hatch from the hold and onto the ground, cursed when the nettles seared his bare arms, flinched as a thorn threatened to tickle his eyeball. The hatch was the only access he'd ever been able to find into the craft, and took him narrowly through some criss-cross and ancient ventilation system into the main compartment. It was a claustrophobic journey, but all other entrances were sealed tight or had been reclaimed by the monstrously greedy landscape. It would take an army to dig the craft out, he thought as he looked at it, as he often thought, even though he knew that this would never be an option anyway, because the truth was much more discombobulating than that. The truth was that Inadequate had no idea how, or where he was rather, or how he ever got there. It all just happened by magic. And herein lay Inadequate Victim's shame and his glory. He'd made a pact with Banyana, and since the hollow men had vanished, the pact was rarer than diamonds and more valuable than life, a precious commodity that could bring creation where soil was barren and give warmth where no fire was to be had. It was a pact that could save his people, for the Horth were a dying breed, their crops, their children, their animals. It was a pact that required he look after the inhabitants of the aircraft in exchange for something utterly priceless. In exchange for magic. What a shame, therefore, his shame, he thought as his senses began to blur into hypnotic, distorted waves, that Banyana was so desperately, so appallingly, so dangerously greedy.